What we have here is a boost. A signal boost. Of some sweet-ass podcasts. Sweet-ass podcasts. I don't know if you have enough S's there for me to fuck up. Brought to you by the one and only Spoiler Country. These are a few of our fellow podcasts we think you should check out. We talk with the hosts to learn what their show is about, understand why they do what they do, and make some friends. Now sit back, relax, grab a drink, and listen to what we have to offer you today.
All right. Welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric. That's Johnny Horsley. And it's been a long time, Johnny. It feels like we haven't actually recorded in months, even though it's only been forever, like a week and a half, but it feels like forever. And today is really cool because we have a whole new thing that we're going to provide to you guys, which I'm excited about. We took the idea of the Kickstarter Signal Boost, and we're both avid listeners of podcasts because we do a podcast, so we're always checking it out. And what we're doing now is going to introduce some people to some different podcasts that you may or may not be aware of. And you know, that's the one cool thing with podcasts is there's a lot out there, independent guys that are guys and gals that are sitting in their office, sitting in their garage, sitting in their car, sitting in their dining rooms, wherever,
sitting wherever,
putting out some really cool content, some really original stuff that you might not be aware of. And so we're just trying to share the love a little bit and say, hey, check these guys out.
So we got our Kickstarter Signal Boost, and which I usually spearhead those ones, and now thanks to Kenric's brilliant idea, we have the podcast Signal Boost, which is going to be him spearheading them and us talking about what who he talks to.
My brilliant idea of stealing your idea. If I just change Kickstarter to podcast, I got a whole new thing.
Right. I was backhandedly giving myself a compliment there.
Yeah.
No, I think it is a good idea. It's great because I mean, it's going to help both of us discover more podcasts with people we have come on for that, and other people listening to us will find other great podcasts to listen to because there's so much great content out there. And one of the hardest things to do as a new podcast is to get other people to find you.
Yeah. It's just about getting people the ability to find them out there. And that's exactly right. So that's cool. So we got 3 cool podcasts to share with you today. And this is going to be fun because Johnny is aware of these people, but I don't think you actually know what their podcasts are about yet. So this is going to be cool.
No, not yet.
Yeah. So the 3 guys we have is, the first one is Chris Osborne, and he's with Play Comics. And then we have Blake Lefton with Noise Pollution. And then we have Sam Sedlak with Super Normal Podcast. And so let's just get right into it, should we? And we'll just do Chris Osborne with Play Comics.
Let's jump into it.
Hi, I'm Chris Osborne from Play Comics. You can find me at playcomics.com or any of your favorite podcast catchers. Play Comics is a show where I look at video games based on comic book properties and how well those games stick to the source material.
Perfect. Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
I'm always excited to talk about my show with other people.
Yeah, you got an interesting show. I like it because we do comic book reviews. We do a lot of, medium around comic books because that's what me and Johnny, my co-host, love to do. He actually writes comic books and puts out independent comic books. And then we have a lot of people from the industry on the show. So it's cool. And I saw yours. I was like, that's unique. I haven't seen anybody actually play the video game portion of it and say, you know what I mean? And tie it into the source material.
Yeah, that was one of the things that really got me excited about doing this because there are tons of game review podcasts and you can find it, broken down into pretty much whatever kind of subgenre you want. And there are tons of comic review podcasts, but there isn't really anything that'll sit there and say, Spider-Man for 2600 is a horrible game in itself, but it teaches you about Spider-Man.
Right. Is it pretty accurate?
As accurate as a 2600 game could be.
That's funny. But, I listened to your Punisher episode and you went in and you started talking about PTSD and where to get help and what people think about it. And that was kind of cool, man. You brought it a whole different level to what I was expecting. I honestly was expecting a whole just pure video game. And that's not where you took it. And that's one of my favorite characters, just because I love the I like the badass. I don't really like the guy that always lets the bad guys get away.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally not going to be how episodes go.
Yeah.
But
it was good.
Yeah, and there's just something about, when that kind of opportunity presents itself, you kind of have to take the chance that you've been given to, somebody's going to need the help somewhere. So you throw the information out there.
So how'd you get into this? What made you go, I'm going to start a podcast?
My wife and I were sitting around playing Marvel vs. Capcom one day, and she's like, okay, this character's cool, and this character's cool, and I don't really know who this is, and I'm going to play with these people because I know who they are. And I'm just sitting there explaining the characters to her, and Rogue is good, but there's no way she'd ever actually be able to beat a Sentinel kind of thing. And so it just it just kind of turned into, her turning over and, hey, maybe you should actually make a podcast so you can tell other people about this stuff too.
Oh, that's not funny. When you started doing your podcast, did it make a difference for you personally?
Not at the very beginning.
Yeah.
The very beginning of it was, covering the 2600 stuff was a little bit of a chore because the games, they're just not something that I ever got into, being as old as they are.
Right. Can you even find them?
I used to go to the flea market way too often, so I'd find 2600 games, not these specifically or anything.
Right. A lot of Space Invaders.
A lot of that. All of your Adventure and Pac-Man and all the common stuff you'd see everywhere.
Yeah. See, when 2600 came out, I was 7. So I was really into it. A lot of Pitfall, a lot of Space Invaders, a lot of Missile Command. It was fun stuff.
Yeah.
I just like, for me, I got my podcast going and I didn't realize how depressed I was until I started doing it. And then I just realized how much I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do this every day. And trying to get to that level where I can actually do it every day is it's a grind.
Yeah, but it's fun. You've got all these.
Yeah, it's a way fun.
You've got all these people that they make a show, and they might not realize what a big change that they're making in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. We have people get a hold of us saying, "Oh my God," and they just talk about our episodes, and sometimes there are episodes that, because we just started in July, and we're already 80 episodes deep, and so we get people commenting back on old episodes, and it's kind of cool because they're talking about things that we talked about, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it this way," or they're either they don't agree or they agree with what we're saying, because we're always arguing on the thing, but it's fun.
And that's one thing that I really enjoy about the setup that I have. There's no reason why somebody can't go back and cherry pick all the old episodes from characters that they think they know about or characters that they think they want to learn about.
Is there an episode that stands out for you besides the last one that you just did?
So the one that I kind of point people towards right now as kind of like the flagship, this is my prime example episode, is the one that I did with my wife on the really old newspaper comic Little Nemo that also had the movie come out over here for it.
Yeah. I remember that. That came. When did Little Nemo come out?
The movie was like 89, somewhere in there. And
yeah, it was a Japanese animation movie, right?
Right. And my wife tried to get me to watch it when it was on Netflix a few years ago, and just for some reason I didn't want to watch it with her, so she watched it without me. And she'd grown up watching it pretty constantly.
Is that the same guy that did Spirited Away?
I don't think so. I really should know that.
God, I can't remember. Or like Mr. Howling's Moving Castle or something like that. I can't remember.
That was the same guy as Spirited Away. I know that much for sure.
Yeah. I thought he did Little Nemo too, but I'm probably wrong. So that's cool, man. You have a very unique podcast going on. I liked it. I think people need to check it out and see, especially if you're a video game player, which a lot of the people that listen to us are video game players, and you like comic books. This is a comic book podcast, so I would hope that you're listening. You like comic books. You need to go check out Chris's podcast right away and tell us what you think, and tell Chris what you think, and subscribe and listen to all of them.
If you like video games, but you're not really into comics, then, maybe I'll introduce you to a game you wouldn't have thought to play before because you knew it was a comic and you just kind of left it alone.
Yeah.
Or if you like comics, but you haven't gotten into video games, then, I can hopefully try to point you in the direction of this is a franchise that you're already a fan of. Here's a game that's actually worth playing, and then maybe you can branch off into some other games from there.
Oh, I got the question I want to ask you. Is what video game that you have reviewed is closest to the source material? Because I know a lot of them just completely take it to a different direction, right?
Right. I mean, I'm only in like regular Nintendo and really early Genesis stuff right now, up that far. So you kind of have to take a little bit of license with it just for what they could fit on there. The closest is probably Little Nemo because of how insane that movie was. They could pretty much do whatever they want in the game and it would be connected.
Right.
The other one that I keep going back to as a super amazing game is Batman the Movie, the game.
Oh,
for
really?
regular Nintendo. Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't really connect to the movie as much as I remember it doing before, but I think that was just because there were Joker cutscenes.
Yeah.
But you have Batman going through kind of a gritty world, not really having like an unlimited amount of bullets or anything. He's just Batman going through a level punching things. I mean, what else do you need from Batman?
It's got everything you need, everything you want. All right. Well, Chris, thanks a lot for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to try to get y'all on my show sometime too.
Oh, heck yeah, anytime.
That's pretty cool. I kind of want to see if he did the Atari Superman game and see what his comparisons to that were.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, man, and he's having a lot of fun and he's putting a lot of stuff out there. I listened to The Punisher, and the one that he tells everybody to go back and check out was Little Nemo, as you heard on that. And yeah, I think go check it out. If you like what you heard, go give him 5 stars. What's gonna hurt?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see if he reviewed did one on the Atari Superman one, because I had that game as a kid. My dad had the Atari 2600 and it had the Superman game, and it was nothing like anything Superman you've ever seen before in your life.
Yeah, that's cool. That's funny. Yeah, I think he's done 2600. I think he's up to Genesis now. I think what he's doing is starting at 2600 and then NES and then Super, you know what I mean, and Genesis, Super NES, and trying to go through each console where they're at.
Well, he's got lots of content to go through then, so good job.
The next one is Blake. And
nice.
his podcast is the Noise Pollution Podcast. And let's check out Blake.
Hey, I'm Blake. I'm the host of the Noise Pollution Podcast, where we view the interesting things of the world with an open mind and an open heart. Perspective is key.
That's awesome. So how long you guys been going?
So I've been doing this podcast now, since July of last year. So I don't know, about 8 months.
That's when we started.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we started July 3rd, and then we just had Sam on from the Super Normal podcast, and she started July 23rd, I think it is.
Oh, okay. That's a popular month.
So this is July was a popular month. So what got you into podcasting, man?
You know, I've listened to podcasts for quite some time prior to, starting my own. And I really enjoyed kind of like the transition from just listening to music, say when I was driving, to podcasting, because it's like listening to all these different stories, right? So, and the whole idea of podcasting really resonated with me. So, I took those ideas and I was like, you know what, man, like I have some things that I would love to talk about and some things that I would love to share, some different ways that I view the world. I think I would love to put out there for people to listen to, and hopefully people could, come along the same terms of some of the things that I believe in, and whatever. And that was the birth of the Noise Pollution Podcast right there. When we first started out, awesome. There was 2 of us on the show, going back, but as of December of this past year, that's no more. It's just me now. So
just you?
Yeah, yes sir, just me.
Do you like that? Do you like just single host going at it?
I do. I was realizing that when I did have a co-host, it wasn't quite the vision that I had originally had in my mind about when I wanted to start this podcast about like in the topics and things I wanted to talk about and share. It kind of really moved away from that direction, and sometimes things they just work out naturally as they should, and here I am today doing exactly what I intended on doing from the beginning. So it all worked out. Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the best thing. Because when you have a co-host, I mean, like for me, my coach and I, we're family, right? He's married to my niece, and we have been talking, like when we get on the podcast and we're going over, say, a topic, that is a conversation we probably would have had regardless of the podcast. And so it's made it easy because we're not compromising. But if you're the one who came up with the podcast and you're going through and you have a co-host that you're kind of brought on because, oh yeah, it'll be fun, but then you're compromising for everything you want to do, I can see that being kind of an issue.
No, totally. And family to a good friend of yours that you've known for a few years are far and few between. It's so different. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. We got kind of lucky. So if you're going to go through and I'm going to listen to Noise Pollution, what's a good episode for me to go check out?
Honestly, one of my most favorite episodes that I've recorded to date is episode 24. It's titled "Why Is the Modern Society Unhappy?" I think that's a really good place for people to start. Now, like just a little bit ago when I talked about how moving this podcast into the direction that I had originally intended on doing, that was, I feel, is the best episode as a solo that I've done yet today. And I'm on 31 episodes now as we speak. So, but episode
nice.
24. So yes, that's the one.
Do you come out? Are you coming out weekly or monthly or?
So right now, I definitely at least at the minimum release one episode a week. Sometimes I try to sneak in 2 if I can, just depending.
Yeah.
So at least 1 to 2 episodes a week. Usually Tuesdays and Friday time frame I like to release.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we try to do at least 1 a week. We've done quite a few 2 a week. We even did a thing where we reviewed South Park the movie. And we watched South Park the movie and reviewed it 7 days in a row.
That's awesome.
So every day was a new one.
That is great. I love that movie.
Well, you don't like it by the end of 7 days, and you got done talking about it.
I don't know,
You're
man.
like, oh my God, just shoot me now. Just get it done. Well, my Johnny was like, oh no, I love this movie, and he was all about it. And that the first day we were both like hyped, love it. Second day, same thing, right? Oh, we're laughing, we're finding different things. The third day was like, you start hearing the songs and you start equating the songs to where you are in the movie. By like the fourth day, man, I was like, shoot me now. Why did I sign up to do this? And we got inspired. There's a podcast out of New Zealand, I think they're out of New Zealand. And there's a couple comedians, maybe Australia. It's a couple comedians and it's called The Worst Idea Ever. And what they did is they never watched the movie Grown Ups, but they watched Grown Ups 2 once a week for an entire year and did a new episode on it.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, that is too big of an endeavor. It's genius because it's hilarious, but it's like too big of an endeavor. So we're like, let's cut it down to 7, And then we do and then there's times when we do cons, like Comic Cons, and then we'll release an episode every day of the con.
Okay.
And so we started in July, but we're at episode 81.
Oh God, you guys are smashing them out there.
Yeah. It's a crazy amount.
Yeah.
Especially working full time and then trying to do this at night.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
Going home
I feel you right there, brother.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat right there.
Yeah.
Kind of like full
and you
time.
got family time that you,
yeah, man. Totally.
It's hard. It's hard.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's a good hard. You know what I mean? Like it's
it's worth it. I didn't realize how depressed I was until I started doing it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God, now I have something that I look forward to do, even the editing portion, doing research on finding like equipment, all that kind of stuff. First of all, it feeds my inner geek because I work for a telecommunications company, Someone might call it, Ma Bell at one point in their lifetime, but not anymore. So like working on computers and working on phones, and I used to be a phone geek before I worked telecommunications. Now I don't care, right? Mm-hmm. iPhone, Android, I don't. It's like once you have them in your hand 24/7, you do not care after that.
Right.
So this has refed my inner geek, and yeah, I love it. I can't see doing anything else. If I can get to the point where I could do this full time, I would be doing it every day.
Oh my God, yeah.
Every day.
I agree. That's. I think it's what we're all trying to do here, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, shit, man, you should come on and when we're doing a normal, quote unquote episode.
Yeah, definitely. We should We should probably just do like a swap cast or something like that. You guys seem great, so
Totally.
I think we would totally make something very beautiful together.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's do it.
All right, brother.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on, Blake. Tell people where they can hear you guys at.
All right, so the Noise Pollution Podcast is available pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts, mainly Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much it. And you can also find me on social media, Instagram, Noise Pollution Podcast, and on Twitter, @Pollution Radio.
Perfect. There you go, guys. So get out there, give Noise Pollution a chance, and if you like what you hear, give them a super rating on iTunes, like 5 stars.
Yeah.
Don't be kicking down with those 4 stars. 5 stars. Don't be an assholes.
Stars. Yeah.
Cool, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right. Hey, thanks, Kenric. Appreciate you giving me the time here.
No problem, man. See ya.
Well, that sounds interesting. I like the concept. It's different.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, and he's a really easy guy to talk to, and so and he's got a pretty good voice, and he goes over everything. I don't know. I like him. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've listened to a couple of them, and I need to go back and I want to listen to the one that he suggested, which I think is episode 24.
Right. Yeah, I'll check that one out.
Yeah.
It sounds very intriguing. I like when people have topics and podcasts that are off the norm, what you expect, and kind of take them in a different direction. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Fun fact: his podcast started in July.
Oh,
and
same as us.
The next one that we're going to go over is from Sam, and she runs a podcast called the Super Normal Podcast, and she started in July.
July was a good month for podcasting.
It was, right? Because we started in July. So let's check out what Sam has to say.
Okay, so my name is Sam. I'm from Supernormal Podcast, and Supernormal is very hard for me to describe every time I try to, but Supernormal is a podcast about humans sharing their stories in hopes of showing who, as a human race, we collectively are. So in a world where social media kind of corners the market on communication, this podcast allows for a little bit of a deeper level connection through new insights and understandings. And what I really wanted to do was allow people to share the story of their maybe marginalized identity or their past experiences and past traumas, but from their perspective, as opposed to somebody writing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of like, you ever watch Vice on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of how they generally do their interviews, where it's not, let's just write about it and tell you how you should think. Let's go and talk to those people and show you their side, whether they agree with it or not.
Definitely.
And I like that.
Yeah. One thing that I try to do that I really dislike about Vice-like media, and it's no offense to you for comparing me to them, but something that they do and a lot of media companies do is kind of lead the witness with the questions they ask and come at interviews with preconceived notions. You know, like, it's not okay to ask a trans person if they still have a penis or if they now have a vagina. Like, you don't have to ask the questions that everyone always asks. And even Oprah, which I'm binging her podcast right now, is very good. It's very good, but she's still guilty of asking those kind of preconceived notion questions.
I don't know that I could ask a trans person,
hey, do you have a penis? Right.
I'd be like, oh, just so weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, they kind of always say, I don't ask you about your genitals, you know? So
Right. Yeah. And that's legitimate. Like, we have a person that comes on from time to time, and they don't like to be identified by gender.
Yeah, non-binary.
And it's so hard sometimes because biology is biology. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, if you're a girl, you're still a girl. If you're a guy, you're still a guy. But there's a level of respect for that person to make a decision that I want to adhere to, right? That they want to be identified as they, then I shouldn't have a problem saying they. Like, why should I care so much to say, well, you're a girl no matter what you think? You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's because that's none of my business.
Yeah.
I don't have to live with what their conceived notions are and where they're going in life, so why should I care?
You know what I almost do that made it a lot easier for me to kind of grasp at the fact that, like, your genitals don't determine your gender identity, was I call everyone they now. You know, like, until they introduce themselves to me, I'm just like, oh, that person, they were an asshole. Or, you know, that person, I really like their dress.
Right.
Because it's almost like I did that a lot when I was younger. And people always said to me that was grammatically incorrect, which fuck it. Like, I guess it is, but you know.
Hey, ain't's in the dictionary now.
Yeah, like I before E except after C, and every other fucking word that I has become before E. Like none of the things in the English language fucking make sense. So you're going to get mad about this one thing that actually makes people happy as opposed to the stupid fucking grammar rules that nobody can follow. So I was just like, fuck it. I'll call everybody they until I know what their pronoun is.
So we're doing, what's your pronoun, right? We're going through the whole thing where we're talking about them, and we both go, because me and my co-host will both say she, and we're like, fuck, now let's redo this, you know? Yeah. And we could totally ignore it and say, whatever, it is what it is. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but, you know, we want to give that person the respect that they're due, and that's what they want to be identified as.
Right.
So
I mean, like, what if we were having a conversation, and instead of calling you Kenric, I called you Carl the whole time? You know, it's like, it's not the end of the world to me or to you, but it's fucking shitty. And if everybody that you ever introduced yourself to was like, hey, Carl, you're like, fuck you, dude, that's not my fucking name. Like, that's the thing about it. And, you know, the best thing I ever heard in my entire life regarding trans people, I saw the other day. And it was like, if we can, as humans, as children, and as a generation of young adult males accept the fact that Charmander becomes Charizard, you can accept when Charles becomes Jeanette. Like,
you pulled out the Pokemon card. That's hilarious.
Literally and figuratively, yeah. But honestly, you know, it's like, why do people
I played
get
with
so
Transformers
mad?
as a kid. Yeah. That wasn't just a gun. It was a robot.
Right.
So what's the difference?
Exactly. Like, it's somebody becoming who they really want to be. So that's kind of what I want to do on the podcast is like, I don't pretend to have every single piece of vocabulary down for this new world that we're embarking upon. I don't pretend to have, you know, the best point of view or every perspective, you know, and understand everything. But I think I'm a good person to kind of be between people like my father and his generation, or even people of our generation who are kind of still fucking up and say, we could just continue, but we're going to re-record it, but it's hard and it's a battle you fight in your mind. And kind of the people who are like, I just want to walk out of my house and not get harassed, you know? I just want to walk out wearing what I want to walk out in.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't get that, what you just said. Like, well, what's the big deal? So I called her she or her. And it's like, well, it gets to the point where they're being harassed. They can't even, you know, leaving the house becomes an ordeal.
Right.
And imagine you secure in your skin because you are a typical male walking down the street. You don't think about people harassing you because it doesn't happen.
Right.
But if you can't even go a few feet, like my buddy, he goes down out the street, and just because people perceive him as gay, he's gotten beat up multiple times.
Right.
And he's had to move out of 2 different neighborhoods because he doesn't make a lot of money. And so he's in a poorer neighborhood, and it just tends to be, I don't know, for lack of a better term, let's be a little blunt, less understanding of the gay culture in a poorer neighborhood.
For sure.
I guess that's the best way to put it. And, you know, that sucks. You know, he's like, I can't leave my house. You know, I don't feel like I want to leave my house today because I don't want to deal with my neighbor that has him and his buddies sitting outside.
Yeah.
Because I know when I walk by, they're going to fuck with me.
Exactly. Waiting to do something horrible.
It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like that 10-year-old in elementary school that's getting bullied every day.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's shitty because like the more of these fucking societal labels, like really, we don't need these labels. Like I would not need you guys to call me a female if it wasn't to make other people more comfortable. Like I don't walk out of the house and you know, declare all of my labels to the world.
Right.
It's only when people start to be like, why are you not normal? If you're normal, you can just be under the guise of normal. But if you're not normal, then you have to have 8 million labels to describe you. And people just get mad that you have 8 million labels because it's more work for them to do. But it's like, I'm only doing this work for you because you're just mad I'm not like you. I'm just trying to show you that I am like you. I'm just a fucking person. I just have things that I disagree with and that you do. But you could do it for you. I just want to do it. Oh, shit, I hit my windscreen. You can do it for you. I just want to, you know, do this for me. Just like leave me alone. I'm not mad at you because you live a dumb fucking boring life and you wear a button-up polo every goddamn day tucked into your khakis. Like, am I calling you shit on the street? No. Go live your best life.
T-shirt and Levi's today.
I have no hate for khaki bros, you know.
That's so funny. Where can they hear you? Where can we hear you at?
So you can listen to Supernormal on all the podcast apps, specifically, preferably iTunes, and leave a review while you're there. But we're also on iHeart, TuneIn, Stitcher, the whole gamut. And then you can also listen at supernormalpodcast.com.
Cool. And then the last question I have, and I'm asking everybody this, if I've never listened to your podcast before, what is an episode that is a good entry for somebody to go to besides just like the last one? You know what I mean? Oof. Like maybe one that's your favorite, like, hey, I really like the way this one turned out.
Right. That's a difficult one.
Yeah. Maybe it is the last one, or maybe it's the first one.
It's probably not the last one, but they're all so good. The last one is very specific. So I'm trying to find one that's more, I really enjoyed episode 22. So episode 22 is a couple. It's the first time I ever had two people together on the podcast that were actually recorded at the same time that knew each other. And I kind of went into the episode having no idea what it would be. But it is first half a man named Aaron. And Aaron works for a screen printer. He runs a company called Queer & Co. And Aaron is married to Seth. So Seth is Seth by day. And the reason why it took me so long to figure out his name is because Seth goes by Kalana at night. So Seth is a drag queen. And Aaron and Seth live in Auburn, Alabama. So they are not very accepting down in Auburn, Alabama of queer culture or drag culture. And Seth by day is a music teacher in the richest neighborhood of Auburn, Alabama. And by night, he is a drag queen. So he kind of discusses how he comes into character, Aaron's acceptance, because at first Aaron did not want Kalana to exist. Aaron did not want Seth to be in drag. Aaron thought that meant that Seth wanted to be a woman. He didn't really understand it. So you really get to see Seth's, transformation into Kalana. And then he kind of was depressed and was dealing with this serious depressive time in his life, and Kalana kind of helped grab him out of that and come into his own, and he's so much happier as a human even as Seth in the day. It helped Aaron grow as well, because now he's going to all of his husband's drag shows. He's his biggest fan. He started Queer & Co., which is his shirt and clothing company, just to support Seth and just to be there for Kalana. And he actually now has a whole Instagram handle just called Drag Husband, where it's dedicated to him taking sassy pictures of Seth dressed as Kalana. So it's a really interesting, transformative experience for this couple. And you kind of get to see it from their perspective and both sides of it as well.
Cool. That's great. Okay, well, perfect. Well, thanks so Let me rewind that. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem.
I really appreciate it.
Well, she sounds pretty cool.
Dude, she's way cool. She's a very nice girl. I mean, I don't want to say she's a nice girl. Well, she has her shit. Nice. She is nice. She has her shit together. You know what I mean? And
we'll just say that you called me afterwards and told me how awesome it was and how we need to have her on for a full show.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And our conversation, most of our conversations with everybody when we're doing this kind of stuff is 5 to 10 minutes. We try to keep it kind of short because we want to get through everything and then have our conversations on top of that, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But hers was so good, and we kept going back and forth on stuff. Before I knew it, we were 37 minutes in. So
making your own episode.
Yeah, so everybody heard just like a 5-minute, 6-minute snippet just now, and then we're going to make a whole separate episode just with Sam. And it's going to be the full conversation. It's all it's going to be. And we'll just put it out as a bonus episode. It won't be all fancy with a bunch of stuff. It's just going to be a straightforward conversation. And if you like what you heard, go check out Supernormal Podcast and give her 5 stars. Matter of fact, give everybody 5 stars. Chris and Blake and Sam, they're working their butt off, guys. And they
give us 5 stars too.
Yeah, but these guys are out there doing this for free, and they're just putting content out there, trying to put things out that they think people will enjoy, and also because they want to learn and they want to empower themselves through this medium. This medium is great. We're lucky to be able to do this today.
It's a pioneering age of a new thing, man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's really cool. So you're all done moving?
Well, I'm all moved into my house. Now I have to go through and
your tiny house.
A tiny 2-bedroom mobile with 5 people and 3 cats. And I have to clean up all that shit that was left here by the last people who lived here. And
family's wonderful.
Right. I may be out of my old house, but I am not done working and getting shut down yet, because we're still putting stuff away and like organizing. And I don't have my desk set up yet. So like right now I'm out in my car recording because there's no place to sit in the house to do anything.
Right.
Crazy. I'm literally sitting in the front of my truck recording because it's either this or outside.
Right.
But, you do what you got to do to make it happen, right? We got to get recorded.
Got to get recorded. You sound like it. If I don't do this, I'm going to die. No, I'm kidding.
Well, and this is a great reason for me to sit and try out and use my new Zoom H6. So I'm recording on that today.
Right. Because everybody listening knows exactly what you're talking about.
Well, they can Google it and find out. It's a fancy, handy recorder, and I love it. It's the thing we use at Emerald City Comic Con. We borrowed from Mike Peacock from On the Edge. Mike Peacock, who didn't he also start in July for his podcast too?
He started in June.
Oh, he started before us.
Yeah. He's a little older than us.
He's a little older and wiser.
Right, but he has way less episodes because it's not quite as prolific.
Most people have way less episodes than we do in the time frame they've been.
Yeah. Well, because they're going at how many episodes you got out so far? Oh, I got about 30. Yeah, we're at 80.
Yeah, we have more because we have the Netflix ones ready to go. We just have to post them.
Yeah, well, and that's what I tell them. It's like, it's not that we have so many because we have all this stuff planned out. It's just that our podcast, because you saw that one of the themes when you listen to all three, Blake and Chris both started with co-hosts.
Right.
And then over time, that co-host didn't work out for whatever reason,
Yeah.
And in Blake's case, he just started to feel like he was compromising too much, and I was,
right. Which is not good.
Right. And I was talking to him and I was like, we're lucky because what we talk about and how we talk to each other on this is not staged. We don't call each other
how
and
we talk in real life.
Yeah, how do we do this? No, it's not. It's like we just, first of all, we can shoot the shit about any subject that we want. And second, we just love what we're doing. So there is no compromise for us because we both want the same things.
We just do it.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. And I was like, we're lucky in that respect.
We're very lucky.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, dude, it was getting really, it just wasn't what he envisioned. So he had to make that change. And now that he's doing it by himself, he's starting to come around. He's got I think his podcast, The Noise Pollution, is a really unique one. And I think it's worth checking out and maybe even subscribing to and check it out. I mean, all three of them are, Yeah. I mean, wait till go and listen to one of Sam's episodes. She is a pro, man. She is a pro.
Right.
And Chris has one of the funnest ones out there. I mean, it's so unique. Who would have thought to go, I'm going to review games and compare them to their source material?
That's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of research too.
Yeah. And when he starts talking about, like, I went back and listened to the Punisher episode, and he starts talking about PTSD and where to get help, and maybe some people might not enjoy that, but there's a lot of people out there that don't understand where they can go. And it's kind of cool that he puts that in there, and he doesn't have to. Not all of it. Most of his episodes don't have that kind of stuff, but the fact that he had an opportunity to do it and then he did it, that's cool.
That's wonderful. That's really cool, actually. That's really cool.
Yeah, and he's a super.
I give hats off to anybody who can do a podcast by themselves, because when I first started podcasting back in 2009, the very first episode of Y2CR Radio was me by myself, and it was the most awkward thing to do ever. I had so many cuts and retakes and shit where I was doing it. I just couldn't just talk and do a podcast by myself. It wasn't until the next one I brought Kaylee in, and it was so much easier for her to talk.
There's a recut of one that you did, and you're like, wow, I sound really like I'm having a lot of fun there. And then the way you said it again, it was like, you sound like you're having even more fun now.
Wow, I sound like I'm having so much fun. Yeah, I know. That was on purpose too, but
I know, but I can imagine like listening to some of your old stuff where you're just like, it's almost like you're a math teacher or a science teacher and you talk total monotone. And it's like, now you're you have inflection. You're going back and forth. It's kind of funny.
When I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I'm just gonna talk, but I didn't know. Do I talk excited? Do I talk? I'll just talk very plain.
Yeah, it's tough. Podcasting is fun if you're into this kind of stuff, and you got to be a self-starter. You have to want to do research for the material that you're doing. It's like when you're in school, instead of somebody assigning you a book report, you're finding the books and doing the report on your own because you want to do it. Well, yeah, because you want to learn, and you got to really kind of be that inner geek that you want to figure out, how do I do what we call a mix minus, is a mixer or an audio interface. And I know some people are listening and be like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, but it's just the point that it's all this new gear that you have no idea how to use this equipment, and there's not a lot of help. There's a lot of help on YouTube. There really is. But at the same time, it's not as granular as you would like it to be. Like, what buttons do I push on the mixer? What does this mean? What does that mean? Things like that. Right. You really gotta all do that on yourself, and then you gotta understand your mics. And there's a lot of work. There's more work into it that people realize. That I think than is out there.
There is, because some people will do podcasts, and like I have some people that I know who started a podcast, and they started recording on their Macs with their earbuds, and it may have been good content, but it sounded like crap because
you tried to get me to do that.
It's earbuds. Well, only because I wanted to get going. I wanted to start recording.
But, I was like, no, I wanted at least a semi-decent mic. Now I'm really mad. If anybody's going to start a podcast, please feel free to reach out. We will help you and tell you what type of equipment to get. Because so many people get the wrong stuff. Yeah, and you don't have to break the bank. You can start seriously if you already have a laptop. That's the biggest part. Get a laptop or a desktop or whatever. Once you have that, a mic and a mixer can cost you $100 for everything.
Yeah, I mean, if people try to go with the Blue Yetis, and Blue Yetis, will cost you $150, $180, and for that same price, you can get a solid mixer and a solid mic that can sound way better.
Yeah, 1,000 times better.
Just listen to our first 10 episodes. I'm on a condenser mic with a mixer. Kenric's on a Blue Yeti. You can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, I sound tinny. It doesn't sound good. But these guys are out there. They're pushing the envelope and really trying to get something going. It's really cool.
It's great. It's great. I've always loved podcasts since they first started. The first podcast I ever listened to was Will Wheaton's Radio Free Burrito. Yeah, and that got me hooked. And I wanted to do podcasts.
That's cool.
So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay,
I can't wait to hear who we talk to next.
Yeah. Well, we have another person already set up. Her name is Carla Huffstedler. Unfortunately, she was under the weather today, so I couldn't get her on, and we needed to get this out. So we'll do her interview, and she will be on the next one in April. So near the end of April, we'll have her on, and we'll get some more people, and it's going to be amazing, and I think it's going to be great. And this is going to this is going to be an ongoing thing where we're going to introduce you to new podcasts, just like we introduce you to independent and new comic books. Because that's what we do.
Every month we'll have one of these out for you.
Yep, that's what we do, man. We just try to gear up and show people new stuff.
Share the love, man.
Share the love. All right, Johnny, where can they hear us? Where can they connect with us?
You can hear us literally anywhere podcasts go. Just open up your podcatcher, open up Google or Safari on your phone or Chrome, whatever you use. Search for Spoiler Country Podcast. You're going to find us. You can download us, listen to us. Download all of our episodes at once. That'd be good for you to do too.
subscribe to us. Subscribe.
If you have iTunes, give us a review. Give us a 5-star there if you want to. That'd be great. If you want to talk to us, you can talk to us on Twitter. We're very active on Twitter, both of us, all day long. We are on Instagram. Go to Instagram, you're going to get me more than likely. We're also on Facebook. We have an email, spoilercountry@gmail.com.
You want to talk to John. You don't want to talk to me.
Right. More than likely. But you can go to our website at spoilercountrypod.com where we have reviews. I just posted a book review on Sandman Slim. I'm about to post another one on the second book in the Sandman Slim series. I've almost got it written up and done.
That's crazy.
That should be out in this week.
Johnny's I'm taking Go ahead, sorry.
I'm going to be writing a book report. I'm going to be writing a review or my thoughts on each book as I go through the Sandman Sim series. A book report, essentially.
I like it better, dude. We should call that section book reports. Because why? Right. I mean, everybody calls it reviews. It's a book report, man.
Really, because if you read them, I'm not really reviewing the book. I'm kind of just giving my thoughts on the book and kind of giving a little plot points.
A synopsis, some plots, what you thought. It's a book report, man. I love it. I think that's better.
All right, and it's a book report on Sandman Slim.
So I have listened to books on tapes, and I have read the books. Every Sandman Slim novel I have read and listened to. How funny is that?
Yeah.
And
that's hilarious.
I love those books. I mean, I absolutely do. And I'm lucky enough that I've gotten to spend time with Richard Kadri on this podcast. And we got to have a bunch of time. And then,
that was so cool.
Yeah. And when he came on, it was right when they announced that they sold the book rights to Studio 8 for the movie franchise. So we're keeping tabs on that because that's going to be so fun. And so
I can't wait to go see that movie, man.
Yeah, me too, dude. That's going to be ridiculous. So, and Johnny has taken it upon himself because I've been trying to get him to read those books forever. And then he finally reads it. He goes, oh, now I get it. So,
they're good.
Yeah. Oh, they're actually good. So he's taken it upon himself to do a book report on every book. And he's going to share that on the website. So go check that out.
Yep.
All right. I think that's a show.
That's a show, man. We're good.
We're good. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Remember, open up your mind and read more.
See ya.